You look fabulous, darling.
You sure? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. For the fathers, how do you show up?
But not only is there no manual to parenting, a lot of us don't have a blueprint.
We grow up hearing it takes a village to raise a child. But once you are finally out of that child phase, you need your own village.
Do you have the safe space?
Yeah, I feel like over time it took a lot of work and effort to learn how to cultivate like safe spaces.
I can create my own anxiety from just overthinking, and it helped me rationalize a little bit better in my own mind. Like, hey, don't sweat the small stuff.
But fellowship is like that deep, intimate conversation. It's communication, and outside of the communication, it's embracing.
I need some friends or some family to tell me, hey, listen, you're going to get through this. You're going to get through this hurt, this pain, this void, because even though they say time heals all wounds, it doesn't heal this wound.
If you're asking that question, then that means you're right there on the precipice, right there on the edge of wanting to go over into a new version of yourself.
But yeah, being present is another expectation that, men have to carry and uphold to. But
just to add something real quick, my dad passed on the 18th. Every day after that felt like the 19th for like the next 3 months, right? It always felt like the day after.
I think this is majority of the brothers that are out there. Our weakness is our pride. And that's what gets us into trouble. That's what
I just couldn't do it. I just kept trying. And when you say that, it's because I got down on my knees that day. And I cried to the Lord. That was nobody but God, because there was nobody else there for me. That's how I know that sometimes we think that God's not there, and He's always there.
We are like nurturers.
Yes.
But sometimes that nurturing doesn't extend to self. Just remember, anything you do in access usually becomes toxic. You can take your authority back. You are no longer the victim. You are a survivor. You do have a voice. Let's figure out what that voice is, and let's figure out what that voice wants to say.
If you have experienced trauma and neglect and misuse, abuse, I want you to know that there is something on the other side of that.
Well, hello all. Welcome. Danielle is already here. Hello, darling. How are ya? My dad is here. Hey. So I know you see this big pink thing on my head. Listen, when you work with young people, sometimes you got to roll with it. But I do big bows anyway. So I told her, I was like, I'm going to wear it, even for my podcast. So anyways, that's not why we're here. We are here for episode 5. I can't believe we've done 5 already. I had to bring on this lovely lady that you see next to me. So I'm going to do the whole introduction as I normally do. But you guys, if you need to pause for the cause and go get you some tissues, get yourself ready. Don't have any open liquids near you, because I promise you, this is going to be some chain breaking moment. I feel it. She feels it. So
don't bring it up too much.
I just want to let you guys know. Be prepared. Be prepared. Anyways, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest for episode 5, Shattered Silence. This is going to be a big one. I have with me, she is a mom of 2. She's with her eldest right now. We're gonna, pray for her. We've already been praying, but
yes.
She's a mother of 2. She's a teacher. She can preach, and she's a songbird because her voice. We love it. She is from Boston, but now she's in Texas. Now, why she left me, I don't know. But
you're not even in Boston. You're in New Hampshire.
I mean, this is facts. Anyway. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, my friend, my honey, my sweetie, Monique Young.
Woo! Hey, everyone. It's an honor and it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. I can't weigh in. I am excited about the conversation, and I'm excited even more so for what it will do to help anyone listening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because she has a story. So as you know, everyone that I've had on so far, they have a story, and I'm like, yes, you need to be in the room. Now, Monique and I have had plenty of conversations. You hear me? Plenty of conversations. And I'm like, girl, be on the pod. Do your own pod. If you want to practice on my pod, we're here. We're here. And, you know, she's not shy. So I don't even know what to do. It's not like you're shy, like, man.
I'm not.
But she has a story. And I said, will you come? And she's like, absolutely. So then, you know, we're going back and forth like, what's the title gonna be? And I feel like Shattered Silence literally like dropped, because a lot of us are silenced because of pain, because of shame, because we don't want to put, you know, family business out there or any other business out there. You know, we have to be careful and tread softly. But then it's like, well, maybe, but like, are we getting released and freed from these things if we remain silent? And when I told her the topic, she's like, yep, okay, let's go. So I don't know, there's so many places we can start from, but I just really want to, you know, give you the space to really share, you know, who is Monique? I mean, yes, you're a mother of two and a teacher, and, you know, who are you? Introduce yourself.
That's okay. So that's big. I feel like I am still learning myself. Mm-hmm. I don't believe in like arriving. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm going to continue to evolve and change and grow and learn. Yeah. But if I had to share some things about myself, I am a mother of two. I love teaching, as you say. She calls me a teacher. I don't consider myself a teacher, but a lot of people do. I love learning and I love sharing information. I call myself expert overcomer because I have been through a lot of things, and I just believe in sharing my story and healing out loud, just to be an example to anyone, male, female, young, older, younger than me, older than me. I just believe that it can be a testament and an example for anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even her name means a little something, something. What does your name mean, man?
Monique means, it's French, and it means counselor or advisor. Mm. And I have often found myself in those roles.
Yes. And this is why she's here, because she's already giving you some gems. If you're not catching it, I will gladly help you along the way. Because there's so much that she has to say, and she already started to drop the gems. And it's interesting that your name means counselor, because, you know, as a counselor myself, I always thought, like, I don't have nothing to say to people. How do I speak to people when I don't feel like I've been through half the stuff that I'm going to encounter in these rooms, in these sessions? And I'm just like, I don't know. But then you have people who are on the other side, and they do have something to say, and they have overcome things. As she said at the beginning, she overcame some things. You know, she's been working through a lot. So, Monique, question. What is one of the first things in your life that you're like, ooh, I gotta overcome this thing? This thing right here was a stumbling block. It was a struggle. It was something that I was just like, what is this? What was the first thing?
Let me see. One second.
Gotta take care of that, baby.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Forgive me.
It's totally okay. If you are coming in, feel free to say hello in the comments. We are here. So much that you can say, ask questions. If you feel like it, make comments, give her a shout out, send some hearts, send some love, because, you know, again, this is going to be a topic, and we're going to be great.
Okay, so you said, what is something that I felt like I needed to overcome?
One of the first things.
One of the first things. Oh, that can go so many places. One of the first things I think I needed to overcome is childhood trauma. Yeah, trauma that I just endured during my youth, and that's hard because of like how you said earlier. We kind of like put ourselves last, and we kind of don't want to express and talk about the things that we've experienced that have hurt us because of our families, our loved ones. We love them. We don't want to hurt anybody. And so we do keep our mouths closed. And what I really, really, really liked, and I didn't get to share with you about the topic, is that it wasn't like, oh, we're breaking our silence. It's like shattered. And when I think of something being shattered, it's like you don't do it purposely. And like something falls, something breaks, maybe like a stone hits the glass or something. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's almost like, in my mind, I thought of it being like forced, like to break. It's shattered. And so a lot of times for me, I feel like that's how my silence has been. Like it has been it's been shattered, excuse me. Because I'm from a really big family, and I always take it upon myself to like carry the burden. And so I always tell myself I got it, or I'm overreacting, or it's not that bad. I can just hold it in. But I have learned that that is just not true. I have learned that I have to express myself in a way that I feel is healthy. And so that is definitely one of the first things that I had to deal with.
Can we talk about it though? Because there are some family traumas that we carry with us, right? And the unfortunate thing is in, our community is we say things and then they get passed down and we carry them, and it could be an innocent thing. So like, for example, I heard all the time, go over there, be seen and not heard. Okay. That means be in the room. People will acknowledge you, but you shh. And innocently, I think we're just like, go over there, be a little kid, stay out of grown folk business kind of thing. But when that gets reinforced over and over and over again, you are reinforcing the concept of keep your mouth closed. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
Another thing that we are infamous for saying is what happens in this house, it stays in this house.
Yep.
You go telling the school, your teachers, your friends, keep your mouth closed. What happens here stays here. And when someone is suffering and you have told them to keep silent, you're invalidating their experience.
Yeah.
Right? You're also saying like, listen, what you're feeling, it don't matter because family over individual. And that's scary. We don't realize that's what we're doing, but that's what we're doing.
Right.
And like, I mean, I'm the baby. So it doesn't matter. It was just me and my brother. It was just the two of us. But aren't you the oldest?
I was going to say, that's completely opposite of me. I'm the oldest of 7. And if I say 8, it is 8 because I have a brother from another mother. We have the same dad, but so I'm the oldest of 8.
Jesus. Babies.
There's a lot of babies.
What was their experience being the eldest? Because I've always wondered, like, being the oldest of 2, okay. Oldest of 3, but 8?
So you have a lot of unspoken pressures, and maybe no one put them there on purpose, but I felt a lot of pressure that I'm just now at my big age starting to release and even being able to talk to my mom about it. And, having her say stuff like, and I'll just go into details. Like sometimes there was a lot of pressure on me to succeed and be successful. As an example, for my younger brothers and sisters, I felt like being the oldest and I'm a girl, I felt like, oh my God, like I need to be a little rough and tumble for my brothers. Like I need to show them how to fight. So I used to stand my little brother on the table and be like, come on, this is how you throw a punch, like hit me. And he would be like, I can't hit you. I'm like, hit me. So it's just like little different things like that. And I spoke to my mom about it. I remember maybe 8 months ago now. And she was like, oh, honey, absolutely not. Like, you do not have to succeed for anybody other than yourself. So it just, being the oldest, it has its perks. And I know some people wish they were the oldest. Like, I'm like, y'all can have this. Y'all can definitely have this. And so one of the things is, from being from such a big family, I always tell my youngest siblings, the ones who are closer to the end, like number 6 and number 7, I'm like, you all have to realize I had a completely different mom. My mother had me when she was 16. She had you in her 30s. She was a completely different person, so I know things, I've seen things from my mom that they have not. And, I will be my mom's secret keeper. She always says, she's my sounding board, and I just am. And so then there are other perks too. Like my brothers, they treat me like I'm everything. If I walk in a room and there's nowhere to sit, they will find a chair. They will make someone move. And I'm just like, no, don't do it. So it has its pros and its cons like everything else. But yes, those are some of the things.
Listen, that is crazy. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go. Because you know me, I can just talk and talk and talk because I'm a talker.
Here. So my dad put in the comments, if it stays here, is it going to be healed here? I mean, I think that's right. Sounding no.
I'm going to say no too, because a lot of times you can go back and say, well, hey, when you get older, or even younger, if you mention something and you're younger, you get told to be quiet. I remember hearing a lot that I was being melodramatic. I had no clue what that meant. I had no clue what that meant. And so it stayed with me even into my adulthood. And I think that a lot of times that's the voice of I'm overreacting and made me keep my mouth closed, is because I was told I was being melodramatic. And when you're older, and I've experienced it, you say something and it's like, hey, I've experienced this, or this happened to me and it caused me to feel this type of a way. It's like, you're crazy. That did not happen, And so I realized that we all have our own experiences, and people can experience the same event but perceive it differently. Yeah.
Ma'am, that's a good one. Hello, Aunt Joyce. Darren being the best. Again, he missed the part where I said, being the eldest of 2, sure. 3, maybe, but 8, was it 7? 7 is a different story. But anyway, I like what you're saying, because we and that's trauma. People don't understand, trauma isn't always you seen somebody die. Trauma can be a major event in your brain at the stage that it's in. It's I don't know what this is. This doesn't make sense. Even though I wasn't physically abused, if I'm witnessing it, I'm thinking that's what love looks like. If I see somebody knocking my mama upside the head and that's my dad, and then I'm like, oh, so that's what happens. So then I'm thinking if some dude just knocked me upside the head, I'm like, yeah, okay, he loves me, like, because that's what I saw. And it's like, no. And what we were talking about yesterday, because we did a run through yesterday, is that we don't know different until we're exposed to different. Like I share this story. I have a client who is in her 40s, and she was like, I didn't realize what was happening at my home was abnormal until I started going and interacting with different people. And she was like, wait a minute. So y'all don't do this? Your father don't treat y'all like this? Your mother doesn't do what? It's like a shock to the system because you can be so normalized. Trauma can be so normalized. Abuse can
Really?
be so
Yes.
normalized.
Yes.
You don't realize how abnormal it is until you're talking to people. It's like, wait a minute. Y'all's parents get along and you and your siblings are fighting all the time. What is that? And it's like, it's insane to think that abuse can be so normal and we become
Right.
so desensitized to it. That's the scary part. Like, there was studies that were done with people who are, from the ghetto or from the hood. And when they
I
hear
hate that.
gunshots, it's like, okay, yeah, that's a gunshot. And then you have other people driving by like, oh my God, did you hear a gunshot? And it's like, yeah, gunshots are like the birds chirping in the morning. Like,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
not gay, but that's literally how normalized trauma can be in certain homes, in certain spaces.
Right. That's true. And I think for that reason I like purposely moved away so that my kids would not have to experience that. And once we did move to where were we at? I think it was down here to in Houston. Eden, she was like, Mommy, is everything okay? And I'm like, what do you mean? She like came running to me. She's like, I keep hearing sirens. And I was like, oh yeah, everything's fine. I guess, someone had an emergency or something. And she's like, I'm really worried because I hear it all the time, and she was just not used to it.
Yeah.
So,
it's new to her. And she was
right.
like, you equate ambulances to a crisis. And it's like,
Right.
well, what is happening?
Right. And that was the first time I realized that, like, oh, I don't equate it at all to an emergency, but she does.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just so true. Like what you said, we do become severely desensitized.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up your daughter because I'm not a mother yet. Let me say that. I'm not a biological mother yet. I have a whole lot of grandbabies.
Yes, you do.
Whole lot of nieces and nephews.
Yes, you do.
But I'm not a biological mother yet. And me and my best friend talk about this from time to time. It's like, I want to be so healed that when I bring babies into this world, I'm not bringing down or carrying stuff that has been carried down to me.
Right.
Because I know me and I'm a very emotional person. And there are just things where I'm like, nope. I don't wish this on nobody.
It's coming.
And I don't really experience much. Like, I haven't really experienced much, but you wouldn't know that based off of the things that I feel.
Right.
The way that I feel it. So like, can we talk about what silence was for you? Like, what kept you silent? What was silence? Why did, in your mind, why did you choose silence? Was it safe? Was it
so that's a big one. So for me, it was the family safety. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't know how anyone was going to take it. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm in a hospital room with my son. So I didn't know how they were going to react. I was afraid of that. That scared me. As a young person, and as an older woman, I didn't know how family was gonna react. I didn't know how friends were gonna react. status, being a minister in the church, my husband being a minister, really not knowing. A big one was not even knowing that it was okay for me. I feel like I didn't have permission to speak out and say this is what's going on, without fear of being like, oh, you're just overreacting again. Here's this again, like you're overreacting. It's not that bad. And even when I did start opening my mouth and talking about my experiences and the things that I was going through, a lot of women was like, that's normal. So I'll just say being like the infidelity. Yeah. Oh, that's normal. I'm like, forgive me. Maybe you're okay with it and it's normal for you, but absolutely not normal for me. It's not normal. It's unacceptable. I didn't sign up for it. And it's a deal breaker for me.
Right.
So those are some of the things that, kept me silent. It's really overall, the overarching, I think, thing, it was fear. Fear.
In the comment section. Yes, continue to blow up the comment section and make sure you share this. Can we pause for the cause? Share this, because I promise you there are things that will be said. This may go over an hour, by the way, so I just want to let y'all know. Because this conversation is so needed and you will see why. So if you need to share it, please share it. It is definitely public. My personal page and my business page, it is public. Share it. Danielle was saying that family will sometimes keep us in toxic situations longer than we want to stay. And this is absolutely true. It is unfortunate that people will tell you, like you were saying, because of status, because of relationships that someone has to a certain organization, you need to keep quiet. Like, deal with it. Talk to a pastor or talk to a counselor in private, but stay there.
And sometimes those people will they're more embarrassed than you are, and they won't say anything that is helpful to you at all. Yeah.
Yes, people do not know how to respond when someone's like, hey, so my boyfriend or my husband, my wife, my girlfriend just cheated on me. And I don't know what to do, because I don't want to just give up because someone cheated. But I'm not sharing. Listen, when I get married, public service announcement, I ain't sharing nothing. You hear me?
Right.
Y'all can have him as a friend, as a confidant, as a mentor, but Miss Ladies out there in the world, I mean, he don't exist yet. But like, I'm not sharing. Absolutely. Right. And then it gets worse, because it's like, what people don't realize is behavior, if not checked, it continues. And sometimes it gets worse. So like, infidelity can turn into lying, can turn into abuse, can turn into a whole lot of things.
Yep.
So people will be like, it ain't that bad. It's like, it ain't that bad yet.
Right.
It can turn into more.
Yes, that right there too. Even the small, when I think back, now we've switched over into marriage, but like when I think back when stuff was like, this is a problem for me, I kind of convinced myself that, you know what, it's okay. Like, it's okay. We can deal with it, right? Kind of like damage control. But then there was, oh man, hold on. What was I going to say? You said something.
I was going to say it gets worse. It progresses.
Yes, it does. So it gets worse. And I think one of the things for me too, why I didn't say something sooner was because I was afraid to be judged, because it's like, oh, I just want help or advice. Like, I don't want to fully be like, I don't want him. Yeah. So it's like, because I still had hope in the relationship and my marriage and like working through it, it's like, okay, I just want a little help. I didn't want to to share. You know what I mean? Because people will judge. And one of the things, now this is going to go back into what you said about what stays in this house, what happens in this house stays in this house, and like to be quiet and stuff. It makes it hard for you to trust yourself, but it also makes it hard for you to trust adults. So now you grow up, and even as an adult, it's like, who is safe? Who's safe? And so for me, when I did have moments where it's like, oh, I really want to talk to someone who's not a therapist. You know what I'm saying? Someone who's in close proximity to me, I felt like relationally, like, so that would be someone from church, an elder, an evangelist, or someone. But when I would go down the list in my mind, I'm like, I don't even know if that person is safe. So it's just like, it's vicious.
See, and this is why you're here. Let's talk about that. We do not have safe spaces to go to, and that is a problem. The worst thing is to see someone hemorrhaging right next to you, and you might have the toolkit in your hand, and you're just like, oh, I mean, they'll get over it because I had to get over it. And it's like, stop being so like, right. Like, don't be so insensitive because of your experience. I don't know how someone can experience their own type of pain and be like, I'm not going to help the next person. I hate pain. You hear me? Physical, mental, emotional. I hate it.
Right.
When I work with these young people and I see them going through the same insecurities as me, I'm not going to be there like, suck it up, buttercup. You'll be fine. Like, no, I'm gonna be like, hold on. We need to come against this. Whether you believe in God or not, we're gonna pray against this thing right here, because no, it is too frequent and it happens way too much in this community. But if you are not a safe person, no one's gonna come to you for help. So we have churches and people who are literally hemorrhaging coming to the church every single week, coming to people and not getting the help every single week. And then we're so confused as to why people are hopping churches or why people are stepping out of the church, resulting to other things. And then we're like, well, what happened? And it's like, how long were they hurting before you noticed it was a problem?
If they if they even ever get to it's a problem.
Yeah.
A lot of times they just start talking about them. It's and how it's inappropriate, or it's a problem, or it's not right.
Yeah.
It's rarely have I ever seen it result in like, oh, this person's hopping around. I wonder what, if anything, is wrong. It's always like, oh, they should be ashamed of themselves. Oh, this or that is going on. Like, they're wrong. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Now, listen, we ain't coming against the church. We love Jesus. We love the church.
I love Jesus.
We are here to only highlight the things that we're just like.
I can tell you about some things that he has done for me, okay? And increase your faith. But I mean, it's the hearts of man.
It's damaging. It's like we cannot continue to walk around being damaged goods, if you will. I remember someone used that phrase, and I still use it to this day. When we are damaged goods, we're like, I know I'm somebody. I know I can be somebody. I know I can help somebody, but I'm not there yet. I'm still broken. I'm still shattered, if you will. And it's like shattered things cut people. I remember I had dropped my phone and I slammed it in the door. I was like, okay, I've had a cracked phone before. I went to go swipe. My finger said, ooh, it's cut.
Yep.
Because we don't realize damaged things will hurt another person. I am not in charge of other people's pain, but I definitely am in charge of making sure that I don't cause it.
Right.
I need to be hey, Bree. I need to be a safe space for the next person. Because if I'm not safe and I call myself a leader, if I'm not safe and I call myself a saint, a daughter, a friend, what am I doing?
What are you doing?
What are we doing?
And I think that that's where like self inspection and reflection come in to play. And a lot of times it's very difficult for people to do that because you see most of the times, first thing you see are the things that need to go. And we have a hard time dealing with the parts of us that are not so pleasant.
Talk about it.
And instead of dealing with it, facing it, accepting it, and then working to overcome it, we just don't self-reflect at all. And one thing that I've always said to my son, not so much Eden because she's so little, she's still so young, is you cannot fix a problem that you won't admit you have. So if you're feeling something and it's vexing you inside, sit with it for a little bit. Yeah. Sit with it and figure out what it is. And, then you'll be able to fix it. Because I always tell him it's like having cancer. If you went to the doctor and really any sickness and they told you had cancer and you need chemo, if you say, no, I don't have that, you're never going to go get chemo. You're never going to get any treatment for it. It's going to get worse. So yeah, it's just hard, and I understand it, but I mean, it doesn't mean that we can't do it. I tell my kids all the time, you can do hard things.
Yeah, you can do hard things. Yes, ma'am. Now, if we pivot back to the conversation about childhood traumas and unhealed trauma.
Yeah.
What that looks like when we become adults, when we become parents, when we get into these relationships. If we are unhealed and we attach ourselves to someone else, I might treat them based off of the trauma I experienced.
Right.
I may have thought I dealt with something. I just slapped a Band-Aid on a whole shot wound. I was like, no, it's covered. Like it's gonna heal under the we're going to be fine. And it's like, maybe, but what happens when the right person at the wrong time pokes that? It's going to hurt. And, if we talk about abuse in relationships, abuse in the homes, it's like, there's this movie I absolutely love and I suggest it to anybody. It's called The Shack with Octavia Spencer. I love that movie. And something that happens in that movie is the son was abused by his father. And then he was like, his father, he like essentially killed his dad. And there was a time throughout the movie where the kid has to face his father. And he'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry that I killed you. I didn't mean to. And the father's like, I forgive you. And then the son's like, okay. The son didn't realize that his father was also abused.
Okay.
Right. So his grandfather abused his father. His father then abused him and his mother. And it's like when we don't deal with what happened to us or around us, we carry that thing.
Right.
We somehow make it normal or a reality for ourselves where we are perpetuating unhealthy cycles.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So The Shack, it's on Hulu. The Shack.
I've not watched it.
Get it.
I'm not a big TV girl. But but I will watch that. It sounds good. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. But nonetheless, like, so if you, so we were talking about your silence, right?
Yeah.
And the things that you had to keep silent.
Yeah.
What was that glass shattering moment where you're like, I can't do this silent thing no more. I have to say something. When was that moment for you?
So it happened a couple times.
Mhm.
So when I was, I think, 19, and I was in school for medical assistant, we had come to a part in the lecture where they were talking about repressed and suppressed memories,
Mhm.
and some things came up like that I had not remembered.
Yeah.
And I remember running out of the classroom, and I was just like, "Oh my God!" And I was like in the hallway, sitting on the floor, crying with these memories. And then, I was just like, you know what? Okay, I have to speak to someone about it. I need to talk to my mom. I have to talk to a therapist. So that was like essentially the first time I realized I needed to go to therapy, or I wanted to go to therapy. Was when I was about 19. So it happened then. And then again, after after my husband's affair, I felt like I had hit a brick wall. And I didn't know what to do. I remember having a lot of feelings like, I'm so sorry. 1 second, guys. I got a lot going on.
Mhm.
So I need that light, honey. Actually, you can turn it off. Okay, that's fine. We'll work with this one. So so that one, yeah. After that, I felt like I just felt conflicted in myself, and I remember I'm someone like I don't like feeling not settled inside.
Mhm.
Like I don't like not being peaceful. And I didn't feel peaceful inside. It didn't matter how much I tried to wrap my mind around, you know what, maybe we can get past this, maybe we can work through it. It just didn't feel right. And so I remember being like, you know what, I can't do this. And then what really caused me to be like, I can't be quiet at all. Like I have to tell everything. Was my son. One day he pulled me aside. No, he didn't pull me aside. He came out of his room, and I was in the dining room, and he sat down. He said, "Mommy, I'm mad at you. I'm angry with you." And I said, "Okay, why?" And I've always made space for my children to be very open with me, very honest with me. Because if they cannot advocate for themselves with me, their mom, I can't expect them to advocate in the world. So that's just a plug. So he said, "Mommy, I'm angry with you." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because you keep your mouth closed. You don't tell anybody anything." And it was like a massive eye opener for me. And I just stood there. And I had to go in my mind and think about, is that true? Am I doing that? And I just realized, I said, "You're right. You're absolutely right." And he was like, "You protect them. You take all this stuff. Everyone hurts you. You let people walk all over you." And I would not have pegged myself as that person at all.
Yeah.
But I was able to trust his judgment because he's my child. And I know that he doesn't, I'm so sorry. The lighting is so horrible.
You're
But,
fine.
so those are 2 times or 3 times when I felt like, those are events and moments that caused me to feel like, you know what, I can't hold this in any longer. And it forced me to face all of my shame and my embarrassment, all of the lies I was telling myself. And I paused because it's like, do I want to say that I was lying to myself? But yeah, they were lies. I realized that I had an issue with being honest with myself. And so, yeah, it forced me to deal with all of that.
Thank you for sharing. Like I appreciate the transparency, and something that needs to be understood is the mind is created, and it's one of its main jobs is to keep us safe.
Yep.
And sometimes lying to ourselves is a way to stay safe. Why?
Yep.
Because our realities are too painful.
Yes.
And when our realities are too painful, your brain's like, hey, let's come up with something where we can feel safe again.
Me on the fly.
Yeah. Like even if we're in make-believe land and we have our own little city, our own little state, it has its own government and its own currency. Like, yes, this is safe here.
Right.
So when reality tries to creep in, let's go somewhere else. Why? Because our brain is conditioned. Oh, your mom is in the chat. Hey, true.
Hey, you can see me. Okay, she's like, stop moving the. You can see you.
It's just very scary when your mind has to. We call it oh my God, what is it? Disorienting, right? We have to literally go somewhere else because we are unsafe here.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing is sometimes it's disassociation.
That's what I was going to say. I disassociate really bad.
Yeah. You have to, because your brain is like, this isn't safe, so let's go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Let's create something that's to the point where you are strongly convinced this is your new reality.
Right.
And it's not until you had I like what your son was. I call him a mirror person. They're gonna slap that mirror right in front of you, like, look.
This is what's going on.
Look. In case, let me bring you down, bring you back. Let me pull that rope and say, hey, I love you, but no, this is not okay. If your son can see it, maybe it's a friend, it may be
right.
Family member, we should have a mirror person who can let us know, like, I know what you're trying to do. This isn't it. Right. And I'm glad that you had that moment where you were able to take that feedback and say, let me sit with it and analyze it, because you spoke to it before. We have to examine ourselves. The Bible even says it. Examine yourself to find out what's in here. Yeah. Because what's in here is going to come out.
Exactly.
So if trauma's in here, that's what's going to come out.
Exactly.
If destruction or disruption, chaos is what's in here, that's what's going to come out.
Yep.
So if you find yourself amongst that fold of people who are just like, I don't know what it is, but I just can't seem to get it right, it's like maybe something's not okay in here. And it's not a fault of self all the time. Maybe you internalized it.
Right.
Something happened to you, whether it be verbal, emotional, spiritual, physical.
All of
it. And we don't realize it. And so we just continue life because it was either normalized or we become desensitized to it and said, it is what it is.
Yep.
There has to be a wake-up moment where the light goes off.
Yep.
And it's like, this ain't working.
And it's not always pretty, and it doesn't always feel good. And it's not always by choice. Sometimes it's the shattering.
Because like how do you pick it up? Like, let's talk about that. Like, when you had those shattered moments and you were left with pieces, what did you do with the pieces?
My Lord, that one's a big one too. So for me, it was, I'm someone who, I like to do damage control. I don't want my family or friends or anyone that I care about or love to have to deal with anything, right? That's going to be painful. But I realized from these moments that I had no clue how to do that for myself. So it was, for me, I had to admit that I had no clue what I was doing. Mm-hmm. And I had to admit it to myself. Yeah. And I am a big I believe in prayer. Like, I like, what would I do without being able to talk to God? Yeah. So it's like, at those moments was like, God, whenever I've had those moments, I'm like, God, I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I'm lost, and it probably is no use in you talking to me right now because I cannot hear you. I am so distraught, and I think that it comes with self-reflection too, knowing yourself. And so I know for me, when something happens that's very traumatic or shattering, for me, I kind of get deaf. I can't hear. The noise and the pain and what's going on inside of me is so loud, I cannot hear.
Yeah.
So I kind of just like have to force myself to sit. I know in certain moments I became almost like depressed. So being still is like just what I did. Yeah. But with those pieces, it took me a long time. It was not immediate at all. I've learned to that I don't have to try and pick them up and try to force anything back together. I've learned that I can let those pieces go and create something completely new.
Yeah.
To create something completely different. And what helped me with that is in the Bible where it says, I do a new thing. Behold, I do a new thing. I said, God can make me new. I don't have to be the old Monique. I don't have to be fighting so hard to put myself back together again. I can be new.
Yeah.
Yeah. So most of the times I did nothing with those pieces. I just left them there.
Can we talk? No, I believe this is a part of therapy that people don't know about. After, like, I was counseling during the pandemic, okay? And a lot of people like, oh, when the world opens up again, I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to get back to that. I was like, first of all, I believe there is no going back.
You don't have to go back to anything.
I don't even think those doors exist. You hear me? Like, I think, like in Monsters Inc., when those doors disappeared, I said, baby, that's gone. What we have to appreciate in this moment is that you don't have to start over, but you can continue.
Right.
And people are just like, continue to what? I don't know. And for a lot of people, that was, I'm so serious. It was like so anxiety provoking because they're like, what do you mean? I have to do something new. It's like, yes, you have to get creative. You can't go back to the same things that you used to do because you like being shut down and being in a house. Everyone was like, I don't like this. I have to face my stuff. I can't run to a bar. I can't run to my friend's house. I can't run outside. I can't do the things that made sense in my world to do. And it's like, okay, so let's try something else. And a lot of people don't know how to do that, how to leave what is broken over there and being like, God, I don't know what this is, but clearly you want me to go this way.
Right.
I don't know what to say. And girl, that sentence you said about it was so noisy I couldn't hear, that can preach within itself, but I'm gonna let you do that on your own time. It's so true. Life can get so loud that you can't even hear correctly. So a lot of us believers are like, God, tell me something. And he's like, if you would silence the noise, you'd be able to hear me.
Yeah.
I heard a preacher say that God's always talking, but we're never listening.
Mm-hmm.
And if we allow the noises of life to keep blocking our ears, we're not going to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
We're going to hear the words that he's trying to provide the comfort, or even if he sends somebody, we're going to push him away because it's like, you in my business. And again, like you were saying, there's no safe spaces, or there's very little. So you're just like, I don't trust you with no word anyway.
Exactly.
So like, did you ever get an answer from the Lord? Did you get an answer? What was the answer?
From when I told him like I don't know what to do?
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. So I know for me, a lot of times and this is what I'm going to say before I say what the answer was. A lot of times for me, because I am someone who's intelligent, I love philosophy, I love intellect, I love knowledge, right? So for me, a lot of times it's like, okay, God, I can handle it. I can handle a lot of information. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. So I'm looking for a whole bunch of words, right? And the way I've realized the way that he deals with me, sometimes it's just like, what he said to me is, what do you want? And I'm like, that's too simple. Don't ask me what I want. I just told you I don't know what to do. And he's like, what do you want? And it was just resounding. What do you want? Whenever I felt like I got quiet enough to hear him, or I purposely sat down to talk to him. A lot of times for me, it's like in the shower because I'm by myself. Or sometimes I'll sit on the side of my bed and I'll be like, okay, God, it's just you and me, you know. Or if I get down on my knees, a lot of times I get down on my knees and I'll just be like, I'm here. Mm-hmm. I'm here. And every time I did that in that season, it was just, what do you want? What do you want? And then here I am trying to convince myself that this is obviously not God, because why would he be asking me what I want? Why would he be asking me what I want? Like, instead of telling me what to do. And I just felt like that would have been easier. But then he brought back to my remembrance where he says, make your requests known. So I'm like, okay, fine. You will ask me what I want. Fine. So when I told him what I wanted, then he's like, okay, like that's what we're going to go for. That's what we're going to make happen. Yeah. And specifically now in this moment, in this season, I hear him saying rest. And he says it to me. He says it to me through my friends, like my close friends, my family members. He has said it to me through my pastor. You know, it's like I was just at we had a conference a couple weeks ago, and he was like, there's a woman right here today. And yes, I'm so sorry. You can put it here. Thank you. Sorry, guys.
She's mothering right now.
Yes.
Apologize for nothing. Listen, for those who are in the comment section, if you have questions, comments,
okay, that's fine.
Put them in the chat, because we're here.
Okay.
Something
like this.
Set people free.
Okay, that's fine. Here. Yes, you as well. Thank you. My bad. Okay. So yes. So back to what I was saying. So my pastor, he had finished preaching and everything, and he was making an altar call, and then in the middle of the altar call, he stopped and was like, "There's a woman here, and the Lord has told you what to do, but you're afraid." And I could just hear him saying, "Rest, just rest." And I was just like, "Oh God, okay, that's for me." So much so that one of the prayer leaders, after service was completely done and everyone's leaving, I was walking by. She said, "You know that was for you." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. It's fine." You know, so I mean, yeah, he gives me the answers, and a lot of times it's hard for me to just accept that that's what it is. I'm looking for instruction, like, okay, this is what you need to do, and this is how to do it. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't always come like that.
Yeah. Well, welcome. Listen, there are so many things that, like, we can get real churchy in here. And you know what? Anyone who is true to this, not new to this, y'all know I can get churchy. So in the Bible, there's so many times where God is asking questions. Cain, where is your brother? Right? He knew the answer.
Right.
But he was like, I just want to see if you, are you going to confess it?
Right. Right.
And like you said, we have to bring our requests to God. We have to like, sir, now listen here. I am talking to my father all the time. I'm like, sir, listen, I'm really confused on this.
Right.
Help me out because
right.
Decisions have to be made. Things have to start getting into motion, and I don't know what that looks like. Help me, and we have to allow ourselves to give it to God.
Right.
One thing to bring it to Him, but we have to give it to Him. Hand it over, release it from your hand, and be like, here, because I clearly don't know what I'm doing with it. I don't know. My life, my children, my marriage, or my relationship, I don't know. And since I don't know, and clearly no one else is trying to help a sister out here, I mean, He shouldn't be our last resort, but it's definitely like sometimes our human and our flesh get in the way. Like you said, we're problem solvers, we're fixers, and we're go-getters. And it's like, listen here, what we're not going to do is let this sit here. So we're going to do something. And we're going to keep trying to do it until we're like, okay, so clearly I'm not the one that's going to fix this thing.
Right. Right.
So let me officially pass it on to Him. And it's a scary thing. When you already don't know what to do, and now you're making the unknown even more. It's like, okay, yeah, I know God is able. But this thing right here, this is different. Because now I'm forced, like you said, I'm forced to sit. I'm forced to be still. And I have to wait.
Right.
Like, how do you go from doing to just like, okay, I'll wait.
Right.
I don't know for y'all, but for Jermaine, that's a chore and a half.
Right. Like that is something that needs to be talked about too, because like being still, what, why, how, for what? And then it's like, but then I have bills, and then I have these children to take care of, and all of these need to be met, and I'm in therapy, and I'm trying to be healed, and I'm trying to get over my trauma, and I'm trying to be aware and not disassociate. I want to be present, and how do I do all of that and rest?
This is why faith is a thing that is commonly talked about, but I don't think it's really understood until you have to
misunderstood. It is misunderstood.
Like, we think faith is like, no, I believe, and I believe hard.
Yep.
Faith is like, I have to believe, be still, and trust, and wait.
And stop trying to make it make sense logically to my very logical brain, because God is not a logical being. Like, if He says something, just do it. Period. Just do it. I mean, even if you have to say, okay, I want to do it, but I don't know how, but just like, okay, just like, don't whip me in it. Like, just help me though. Cause like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is when Paul had that thorn in his flesh and he went to God 3 times. Mm-hmm. And God's response was great. We love it. Mm-hmm. Let that had been me, I would have been like, sir, nope. Try again. Maybe I didn't hear correctly. Let me rewind and hit play. And then just, because maybe there was something in there else that he said. He said, my grace is sufficient for you.
This is what to say.
I would have looked up and said, that's what you got for me. I never questioned.
I'm going to need the removal to be sufficient.
Like, I never questioned your grace, sir. That's not what we're here
right.
for. This thing hurts, and I need you to remove it. And you say, my grace. This is why we're thankful that Jermaine was not in the Bible, because I would have showed y'all what not to do.
Which is needed.
This is why I don't judge Peter, because me and Peter, we would have been
not. No.
Because I'm not as impulsive as Peter, but ooh, baby, I'm very emotional, and sometimes these emotions force me to do things. And yeah, So like if I went to God and I said, I need you to remove this, and he would have said something like that, I said, no, no, no. But thank God for Paul. I mean, thank God for Peter. Paul, yes, Jesus, help me. Thank God for Paul, who taught us how to wait and how to be okay with an answer that we got from God, whether,
Right.
like you said, it logically made sense or not. Whew. Anyway, now that we got that out the way. Like I said, it's gonna go over an hour, but we don't have to go too far over.
Right.
I do want to ask: is there anything that we have not touched upon that you want to put out there? Because again, we out here, we got to release some things on some people. But we're here,
so I mean, there's so much I could go into, but if there was one thing, I'm so sorry, that I have to absolutely share, it would be to excuse me, I'm sorry, what'd you say, honey? You good? Okay. One thing I would have to say is you're gonna be fearful, right? But to continue to remind yourself that
oh no, it froze. Oh, I think she is frozen. Monique, come back. Yeah, she's frozen. You guys, if you are still with me, or technical difficulties, you know how it is. It's the name of the game sometimes, but I hope you guys are enjoying this and you're getting something from it and you're sharing it with the people that you know can get revelation from this, or just healing, or just validation, because we are here to do all of those things. Validate, to speak about those things that are not spoken about. This is why we're here. This is a very heavy topic, and you know, we applaud Monique for being so brave. But this is why we're here. You know, the encouragement that you can feel from this situation and from her story. This is why we share stories. You know, testimonies are so powerful. The Bible even says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimonies. And this is a part of the overcoming, is maybe, as we're saying, silence has been something that you had to choose, whether willingly or it was forced upon you. But hearing that someone else can overcome what they had to overcome, and that they can find a voice and share it, is so powerful. Thank you. Welcome. Feel free to look at all the other videos. Let me bring Monique back on. She's back.
I'm so sorry. That is. I'm sorry for the ghetto. I feel like it's just so ghetto right now.
It's okay. I was just. You know,
what I was going to say is, obviously they did not want y'all to have this information, but it's going to be scary. You're going to feel fear, but it's okay. Make sure you're moving in faith, though. Trust yourself, trust God. I tell my kids that all the time, and I have to tell myself that too. Trust yourself and trust God. Mm-hmm. Trust yourself, trust God, and just keep moving. And sometimes the movement does look like rest. It is stillness, because it does equal progression.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is something that I think absolutely needs to be said. Don't be afraid to share your story, because you're going to help someone. And everyone's share doesn't look the same. Everybody might not be called to write a book, or to start a podcast, or to be on a live, or to share on social media. It could be in a very small setting. It could be someone at work. It could be someone at school, but you will help someone.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to share your story.
Can we double down on resting and being still is still movement? Because, girl, if you don't get on somebody's preaching platform, I'm gonna need you to do it. It is so powerful. But yes, stillness, trust, faith, it is all necessary. The Bible
Yes.
talk about God is saying, come to me if you are weighed down, if you are burdened, and I'll give you rest. He's
Yep.
not saying rest, come to me, I'll give you more. He's saying in all your chaos, come to me, bring it here, and I'll in like it's like a transaction.
Yeah.
You give me the chaos, I'm gonna give you the rest. You give
Yeah.
me the problem, I'm gonna give you rest. You know, talks about leading him beside the still waters. Like we need that because not perfect English, life be life in. And
Yep.
it gets
Yep.
so noisy, things shatter, things break. We get really lost and confused, and it's like, what is this? I don't know.
And
So,
I just want to point out
yeah,
and clarify a little bit what you just said when you said God said to come to me, give me the thing, I'll give you rest.
yeah,
I want to point out that he's not saying it's not a prerequisite for rest. He's always standing there like, here, have your rest. But in order for us to accept the rest, accept what he's doing, we have to give it away, what we're holding on to.
mm. Like I say, y'all get your shouting shoes on because you might be released from something listening to this here conversation. Absolutely. Let go and let God have his way. Like
Yeah,
I love that song. We
yeah,
have to let God have his way. Even Jesus in the most one of the most, obviously on the cross, it was very excruciating pain. But while he was suffering, even Jesus himself said, God,
why
take
have
this,
you forsaken me?
take this from me.
Yep,
But nonetheless, not my will,
but your
but
will.
yours be done. Because, hey Chris, there's a lot of people who are hurting. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people who have been hurting in silence. There's a lot of people who interact with people with a smile on their face.
Yeah,
They can even give. And we don't realize that when they go home and those doors are closed, tears are flowing from their face.
yeah,
Weight is hitting their chest.
yeah,
They're weighed down. And somehow they do it day in and day out. It's
yep,
like copy and repeat. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there has to be a moment when we are honest with ourselves and we can literally sit down and say, I don't have it. This right here, I have carried it for too long. And I have to let go of the shame, let go of the fear, and open my mouth.
yeah,
As we were taught, closed mouths don't get fed. So I have to open my mouth and say, here's what it is. Find a trusting somebody. I'm here. Hello. If you need me, I'm here. And there has to be a space, yes, Danielle, of honesty with God, and God will send you the help that you need. But like Monique said, the way that we can receive it is if we give something to Him.
yep,
And so allow yourself to be free from the pains, excuse me, the pains and the weight of whatever it is that you have gone through. It is not always your fault. Some things happen to you, not because of you, but to you. And we are not in control of how people treat us. Can we set boundaries and standards? Absolutely. But will people violate them? Some will, right? But it is your job to take that thing to God or to take it to your therapist. Because, yes, we can do Jesus in therapy. Absolutely. Hello. Hallelujah. There's just some things that we cannot carry ourselves, and we are not expected to carry ourselves. Let God be the one who can initiate the change. And as Monique said, bring it to him and rest. Stay there. Lord, this is ghetto. I say that a lot. I'm like, Lord, whenever you ready, you can remove this thing because this here, ghetto. I agree. But One final thing, I do it all the time. Actually, two final things, maybe three. Three things. You don't. We're not going to put Monique's business out there, but I want to be a blessing to Monique because she's mothering right now, and as you heard, the machines are going off in the back.
I'm so sorry.
It is a-okay. Listen, I'm not one. This isn't like an offering line. This is not that. If you want to give, you absolutely can give. If the Lord lays it on your heart to give, you can absolutely give. This is not going to me. This is going straight to Monique. So, Monique, if you're not comfortable with sharing your Cash App, I will share a Fighting Chances Cash App, and then we will make sure that the money gets straight to you. Because we sometimes, and it is a brave and courageous thing to ask for said help. So I'm going to put a Fighting Chances Cash App.
And I don't know how to share my Cash App like with you. I can give it to you. I don't know how to.
I mean, I can put it. I can put it in the chat.
Okay. I just texted to you.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry.
I don't even know what my other phone is. What is it?
Oh, my Cash App is, yes, it is plain Omo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Plain Omo.
Yes.
And if you guys are willing, again, no pressure. I'm not going to try to guilt you into sharing a thing. If you guys would like to share, it's that.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. If you guys like, listen, we don't have to take an offering and say like, I need 20 people with $20.
No, we're not doing that.
I don't.
We're not doing that.
But if you would like to share, there is her Cash App. Anything would be appreciated and welcomed. And again, I don't normally do this, but we follow the direction of the Lord. Amen. Amen. So that was one. Secondly, we will be back next week. I am bringing on a college friend, Jess. She will be here next week. We're going to be talking about the heart of a champion and how to stay in the fight, how to keep going. Next week, 7 p.m. Please come back. Share this on replay. Watch this on replay. Share this. Talk about it. Again, we are just here to initiate the conversation. Please continue the conversation as you go along. And like Monique said, even if you're not doing it on this large stage, so to speak, if you have a conversation with somebody, you never know what somebody's going through because a lot of us are suffering in silence. Mental health is often the silent disability that we all have to manage and go through. But that was number 2. And the final thing is every week I have whoever my guest is to leave with a call of action. And this is just, it could be words of encouragement. It could be, I don't know, an action that you want people to do. Like, I need 3 people to talk to 3 people. Whatever it is that you want to do. Monique, is there some final words that you have for the people?
Well, I'm not sending anybody to anybody else but themselves. Sit in the mirror and tell yourself all the things that you need to hear. It's so easy for us to pick ourselves apart with the bad, with the things that we don't like, and that we would love to change. But tell yourself that you're beautiful. Tell yourself that you're not broken. Tell yourself that you do not need to be fixed. God made you and he made you good. You are good. Anything bad is for the trash, right? You're not for the trash. You're worthy. You're here. You're deserving. Let your humanity touch you. Because that was a part of me that I couldn't absorb. I could not absorb the fact that I was a human and I had human issues and it was okay.
Yeah.
Let your humanity touch you.
That's so good.
Accept it. You're not an angelic being. You were made a little lesser than the angels. Okay? and sit with yourself and remind yourself of who you are. And it might not happen overnight. And if you have to cry, cry it out. You know, but you'll grow. It will be better. So I guess that would be my call to action.
Yes, listen, whoever is still watching, I need us to flood the comment section with some hearts because this was an amazing episode. I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you.
I mean, like I say every week, if you want to come back, Miss Ma'am, you let me know and we will create the space. But who knows? She might just have a podcast of her own coming soon.
I do. I do. I didn't tell you. I do. Yes. It's called The Brew with Mo. And this ordeal, I've been in the hospital now. This is the 12th day. So it kind of interrupted my plans. I plan to edit and upload and distribute my episodes last week. But I didn't get to do that. But yeah, so it's coming soon. The Brew with Mo, the podcast. And so stay tuned. It's going to be awesome.
Yes. I mean, you guys don't know, but Monique has been holding on to that thing for I don't even know how long. I said, girl, if you don't release that, me and her mama, like, girl, if you don't let that thing go and let the people hear your voice. So we praise God for that. Anyways, Monique, thank you so much. We will be talking.
Thank you for having me.
You know,
yes.
I am so proud of you. This was amazing. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who you have touched, and I'm grateful to create the space for you. But you know, I'm just glad that I know you. And you're amazing, and you're anointed. And y'all, when she sings the rasp,
Jermaine, stop.
It does something for me. And I listen, she can sing me the ABCs for all I care. I would put that thing on my ringtone and be like, you better sing me the ABCs. Sing me the words of the Constitution. Anyway. I love you to death. All right, next week, 7 p.m. Meet me back here. We will be talking with Jessica, and then we will be talking about the Heart of a Champion. Yes. You guys have a blessed night. I hope you guys receive.
Have a great night, everyone.
We love you all.
Yes.
Good night. Go something.